And I just, when it just something catches your eye, and I thought, oh my goodness. But the bath was running, and I really didn't want to let it overflow, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, hang on. I don't know actually what's happening. Hang on, let me turn the bath off. And then I did that and ran back, and then he was down on one knee, and Amelia was still in the high chair, like looking at us. And then he played The Seekers is it's a very old band, if those of you that know it. It's one of our favorites, or my family favorites. And he was playing Georgie Girl, like on our TV on the wall. And then I thought, oh gosh, is someone else going to jump out of the bushes, or what else are you going to do? And then we're all hugging, and that's all.
Welcome to the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast. On this channel, we're going to be discussing all things marrying a farmer, moving to the land, and becoming integrated with a family farming operation. Whether you're moving to the farm for the first time or whether you're moving back into a family farming operation, we discuss the ins and the outs of all of it.
Subscribe to the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast today.
Hi guys, and welcome back to an episode of So You've Married a Farmer, Now What? We're back here talking to Georgie. It has been over 12 months since our chat. We're going to do a little bit of a review from some of our favourite Ultimate Farm Wives here in the community. Georgie, just over 12 months doesn't feel like that long for me since I've sat here and chatted to you, but I know so much has been happening on farm. So can you please reintroduce yourself, your family and your farm, and tell us all about the last 12 months?
Wow, thank you. I don't know where the 12 months has gone, but this is great to do a review, actually. This is a great idea. So my name is Georgie Kavanagh. So I'm the co-founder of Carlotta Gee. So for those of you that don't know, it's a French linen bedding and homewares brand, which we launched 7 years ago as a side hustle, and now it's a big business. And I live at Baruga, which is 20 k's out of Narromine in New South Wales, and my fiance, even though he thought it was a husband, I actually got engaged in the last 12 months. Now my fiance Curtis at his property, and we have a little 15-month-old Amelia who's currently at daycare.
That's exciting. Lots going on. So tell us about the engagement, because I know all of the other ladies would love to hear about how Curtis did finally pop the question.
Yes, all of his friends have been like, oh, thank goodness. It's actually funny. It's funny because I think, already having a baby, you feel kind of almost that you are, but it's very nice, and it's a nice feeling then when he, I suppose, does it make it official. And I know he will listen to this, so well done, Curtis. How did he do it? So we were at the farm, and we'd all been sick, I guess, like a lot of people at the moment. The kind of different flus and viruses have been going around, so we'd been sick, and had no food in the house because I'm so used to, again, while I'm getting better now, being from the city, just being able to go to the supermarket all the time. So I thought, okay, we need some food in the house. You look after Amelia at home. I'm going to go into town, do the supermarket shop, and come back. And when I came back, it was almost that kind of witching hour, feeding time, and he said he was going to make a really nice roast dinner because it was the day after my birthday. And so I brought that back, and when I got in, he looked shocking, and he was wetting his face, and I said, are you right? You look really sick. And then he said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to cook dinner. I think you're going to have to do it. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. Anyway, so he was feeding Amelia. I was cooking dinner, and I kept going back and forth into the living room where he was, and obviously disturbing him, but I didn't realize. And then I said, come on, Amelia's finished dinner now. Let's put her in the bath. And so I took her bib off, and then I noticed she was wearing a gold necklace, my gold necklace. And I thought, oh, gosh, why does he put my gold necklace on? It's really cute, but that's strange. And I was like, come on, take the bib off. What is the necklace? And then I went, and the bath was running, and I went to then just turn my head, and then I just saw this ring hanging on the necklace, and I just, when it just something catches your eye, and I thought, oh my goodness. But the bath was running, and I really didn't want to let it overflow, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, hang on. I don't know actually what's happening. Hang on, let me turn the bath off. And then I did that and ran back, and then he was down on one knee, and Amelia was still in the high chair, like looking at us. And then he played The Seekers is it's a very old band, if those of you that know it. It's one of our favourites, or my family favourites. And he was playing Georgie Girl, like on our TV on the wall. And then I thought, oh gosh, is someone else going to jump out of the bushes, or what else are you going to do? And then we're all hugging, and that's all.
And you remembered to say yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah. And then I did say yes. We're like, actually, we put it on the wrong hand because we're so, I don't know, like we didn't do it. And then we took a photo like with Amelia and sent it to our family WhatsApp, thinking someone would say, oh, but I think we were always sending photos, and because it was on the wrong hand, and no one really said anything. So it wasn't until the next morning I was like, hello guys. No, and then my dad had to say, Georgie, is this a modern day engagement? It's actually on the wrong hand. And yeah. So yes, that is the story.
That's wonderful. That's a really nice story. I'm so glad that your daughter was involved in that, and there was some really familiar elements that really personalized it for you both.
Yeah.
And I also noticed on your socials in the last 12 months, you've turned into this amazing chicken woman. I love chickens. I'm so glad you've got chickens. Tell us about, relaxing into the farm life a little bit more, adapting maybe a little bit more, and getting your chickens.
Yeah, that well said. I think I said to Curtis, like before I move up here, I said, if I'm going to be here, I just want chickens. And, he was like, okay, yes, okay. And then I knew he really must love me because I found on Marketplace a free chicken coop in Tumut, which is kind of like a...
it's not near us.
Not near us, but we were going to visit his cousins in Wagga. And then I said, and it just happened, we got this free chicken coop, and we drove to this random farm and got it, and it's got this chicken coop. And then when we brought it back here, everyone was laughing at us because he could have easily made it, or it was just this random chicken coop. Anyway, in the end, we're not using that, but so it's still sitting there. And anyway, and then this is still in September last year. And so we're fortunate. We've got someone that works here at the farm, and he just built like the Rolls Royce, like the best. Everyone's like, wow, there's never been a better chicken coop in the Central West. And so he just used one of the sheds that we've got here and kind of built that. Then I really did my research and found out where you buy them. And this guy must think I'm very strange because every day I was like, when coming to pick them up, and it literally just for 5 chickens. And then I couldn't. And then I was letting him know when the chicken coop was being finished. And I don't think he was like, okay, I really don't care. But in the end, he knows John and Sybil, Kurt's parents. And so it's funny how small world. And yeah, I paid him the money, and then I've been texting him ever since because now they started laying. They're just pullets. I've done all my research. For those of you that don't know, they're like young chickens that just start laying. So we didn't think we'd get eggs just yet. And then the next day, we collected a bunch. And so now I've just been so excited updating him. And then we have a cleaner here and different people within our kind of community. And then everyone's like, oh, wow, I'm going to get them. So I think hopefully I'm starting like a chicken movement. But yeah, really, I think it brings such joy, and coming back to the simple things of farming. And I just love that feeling that we're collecting eggs, we're eating them, they're fresh. And, now I'm growing veggies. And I just think that's such a nice part of the farm life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Georgie, have there been other elements similar to your chickens that you've brought into, become part of you and part of your placement on farm that have really helped you find your place on farm, really helped with that peace and making it your own? Because a lot of the time when I talk to a lot of farm wives, they're really struggling to find a piece of their own self on farm, or try and establish something for themselves, because a lot of them, like you, have left the city or left who they are and what they're doing. It's so great that Carlotta and Gee were able to come with you as the company and grow, but finding that new personality of who you are and the comfort on the farm. So have you done anything else like that?
Yeah, I think now we've definitely renovated. So before, I think I mentioned it was his grandparents, and then it kind of became a bit of a bachelor pad. And so his parents were really fantastic at kind of initiating that. We've renovated, so that's really nice. And now it really feels homely, and everyone that comes in is like, oh, that's fantastic. So that's been a nice part. Now we've moved kind of to the outside, and things like we bought a a pizza oven, and now I'm growing star jasmine, and I'm in Bunnings all the time. I think, and now I'm really starting to the garden and buying solar lights and all those kind of little touches. I think because it's quite overwhelming, you think, where do you actually start?
Yeah.
But then I think now all the small things that we've done, actually, and then I keep seeing things like Jacinta Campbell, who, for those Franklin, she did a photo shoot the other day at a farm, and it was like these wild flowers everywhere. And so now I send my mother-in-law photos. Like I said, we could do this, and because I think that doesn't need to be a rule in farms. I think they all laugh at me, but I think it doesn't. Yeah, it's very much a farming here, but we can. Why don't we have a section where there's like wild flowers and make it different, fun kind of things? We're also for Amelia to make sure it's, now she's running around. That's been hard, kind of just making sure we're going to redo all the fences and like put a sand pit in for her. And yeah, so now it was kind of originally establishing it for myself and making it feel nice. And now it's kind of making sure there's things for her as well.
Yeah, because our kids are incredibly curious. So having something that will really intrigue their imagination and playfulness that's inside the yard is really important, and is a lot of fun to be able to learn and grow with them as well in that, particularly because, before we sort of established our orchard and a garden for myself as well, all my kids wanted to do was climb the fence and the gates and disappear down the paddock. And so now that we've done that little bit of garden improvement, so there's the veggie garden, so they'll go down and they'll quite often pull things before they're ripe, but that's fine, they're staying inside the garden and it's helping their imagination and their learning as well. But definitely when you're on a farm, having that, where are they enclosed in the garden, like, are the fences good enough to keep them in? It's no longer about the stock staying out of the garden, it's now about trying to keep the kids in so they're safe.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I'd love your listeners as well if there's any feedback. So we have the chickens, obviously. There's 2 other sheds near there which we're going to do up, and I'm trying to think and brainstorm with different friends, what's something else that can, doesn't require like too much work, but another kind of animal or activity that we can go and do something with. And a few people have said, oh, why don't you get a potty, not a calf, because I think that, well, we've got lots of cattle here, but I think that would be like a lot of work. But then they said a potty lamb. So I don't know if you think that, or if anyone else has any other suggestions, something else that might be good as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'll put that in a tile so we can get some good conversation going out on the community tab. Absolutely. I have been pushing. We've got cattle here as well, and I'm always like, is there a potty this year? And we've been really lucky there hasn't been, but I'm always like, oh, can I have one of those? So I think that's a great idea to keep that out for something for you both. Recently, we caught up at the International Women's Day event in Dubbo. So when we were talking in your interview just over 12 months ago, we were talking about how important it was to create that community around you, especially when you've just moved to a town for the first time. And we're talking about how beautiful it is that our region has events like this where we can go together, we can chat, catch up, and really build our network. So have you been going to more events like that, and how's it been growing that community since you moved to the farm?
Yeah, I have. I've tried to organise, and I will do this more, some different coffee catch-ups. Earlier this year, we were travelling quite a bit to different things we had on, so we're travelling quite a bit. But now I said, like, I'm back and I really want to get involved. So I'm trying to. I think the hardest thing is, just knowing when they're on, actually, because then if I know they're on, I will definitely go. And so I've said, wow, I didn't even know. I'll find who I was talking to, but they're based in Narromine. I just have a lot of names in my head. So you can share with them and everyone can join, but they run a lot of events. And I have said I really want to get more involved. I would actually love to do my own event as well. There's some amazing like Peggy and Twig in Trangie, and Claire Austin from the Gingin station. I just think there's some really fantastic females out here. So I'm just kind of picking my favorites, and yeah, you might be one of them. And yeah, to organize a bit of an event, because I think I hate the word event because everyone does that, but I'll think of a new word. But it will be kind of, it won't take too long. I know everyone's really busy. It'll be something that people want to go to, so kind of stay tuned, and I'll let you know once I get that organized.
A Georgie experience.
Yeah,
little bit of mystery. We know we're going to get something out of it. We're going to have a good time. You know, it's an experience. Yeah, no, we'd absolutely love to share that. This is your save the date. The countdown is on for the return of the Harvest Her Power Farm Wives and Females in Agriculture Empowerment and Skills Conference, February the 23rd to 24th, 2026. Mark your calendars for this 2-day unforgettable inspiration hands-on learning. This year was such a success, and we loved having you all there, learning alongside each other, becoming empowered, sharing our stories, learning skills that will build our resilience as women in family farming businesses and in agriculture. So, Georgie, last time we sat down and were talking about challenges of being on the farm and adapting to farm life, has there been anything else that has really come up in the last 12 months where you've thought, oh, that was a bit of a challenge, but I'm out the other side, or I navigated myself through that?
I think definitely harvest was, because I was really here last year for that. And so that was really, it was exciting to kind of see the full year and then understand, I guess, just how busy, because we obviously have our own crops here, but then Curtis has his own trucks and own header, and so he got a big contract up in Queensland. So he was gone for a few weeks, and it's just interesting the kind of different facets you might have on your own farm, but then if you do contracting, they're really good contracts, but then you realize they're not home. So it's a bit of a that was interesting, but that really exciting time. We also sold quite a few sheep, just because we're looking at a few different other things and learning. I think I went to the Dubbo sheep sales, and that was really interesting. Like talking to the agents and just seeing, this day I went, there was just so many, and just realizing how quick the auctions, or as they walk through the different yards, I was like, oh wow, it's all over, like 30 seconds, and they say yep, and I was like, oh wow, that's a good price we got. And so it's interesting how on that day, that made me realize, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. This is what it's all about. So I think I'm just learning a lot more now.
I love that you're so curious in the learning stages still. Like, I really love that. I think that's really refreshing, and a good lesson that we can all take away is keep curious, keep learning, keep going along to these new things and new facets on farm. I do want to go back and double click and deep dive a little bit more into harvest, because I know that in our community we've got, a lot of lovely ladies who are going to be heading into their first harvest at the end of this year as well. So let's talk on harvest while it was on your place, and then let's talk about harvest when Curtis went away contracting. So while it was on your place, what was your role during harvest?
So I was the cook, I suppose, and so there was a lot of people here, and again, like I've said, from the city, you're used to going to the supermarket every day, or then making kind of nice meals, where you really think about what's going in them and little how it looks on your plate, and and then I really realized that they don't care, and they really don't need that, and also you do not have the time. So then I just asked a few friends, like, what do you actually cook? And they were like, butter chicken, I think lasagna. I think I was just thinking. So then I just went to the supermarket, did this huge shop, and I had so many like those Chinese containers.
Yeah.
And cooked it all. And then everyone wants coffees as well, and so it's all those things. So I was I was the cook, and then I would take them out to the paddocks, or if they did like come back here, I was making sure it was all like ready to go for them. And so that was really fun. That was fun, but it was then when Amelia wanted to be fed as well, and I was like, oh no, it's her bedtime, so we had to quickly get her out. She'd come out with me, we'd drop them off, and then come back and then get her ready. So yeah, it was but that was the main difference, just making sure it was like a lot of bulk food. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And did you have a favorite meal that you enjoyed prepping or eating?
What did I like? I think I liked buttered chicken, actually.
Yeah.
I think that was really, and everyone seemed to really like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think we've had it again since August. So, like, oh no. But yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Was there anything that you would do differently for the harvest coming up?
Just in terms, I would make sure, just had all the right coffee, because I think we've got, an amazing coffee machine here, and I think that takes so long. So then I would just have to make sure I just, again, I don't think they really mind. They just want the instant coffee, so I'll just have to make sure that's all on hand, ready to go, and kind of proper like takeaway. Actually, the guys are pretty good. They all bring their own, so then I just have them and just fill it all up. Yeah, God, I can't believe
their own flasks. They bring their own flasks.
Yes. And I think I don't think I would do anything different. I think just being organised with all those right containers, I guess, and then that kind of helps everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It does help everything. And storage-wise, when you did your big grocery shop and you got everything home, did you have the space to be able to store everything? Or was it like, oh, next year I might need an extra freezer, or next year I might need to like have an extra shelf in the pantry or something?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. We do have a really big fridge and freezer, but actually I think, another freezer would probably be, we've often talked about, because we've just built a big new shed, and so maybe we'll get a fridge and a freezer out there. That could be actually a good idea, just to make sure all that, because it's interesting, again, with things like, say, chemicals for the animals, sometimes I saw them in our fridge and I was like, no, they never, being in there. So that's why I was like, we need to put like some fridges and freezers out there.
Yeah, you need an outdoor fridge for that one.
Yeah,
I agree. Are you part of our Ultimate Farm Wife group yet? If you've been loving the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast, our posts and everything that we share here, then you're going to love what's happening inside the private Facebook group even more. This is your personal invitation to come behind the scenes and connect with other women in agriculture, women who get it. The early mornings, the endless to-do list, the love, the heartbreaks, and the strength it takes to be both soft and strong in farming life. Inside the group, you'll find real conversations about farm life, the good, the hard, and the beautiful. A safe, supportive space to ask questions, share your story, or just listen. Inspiration, engagement, and sisterhood of like-minded women, alumni, and friends of the podcast, growing a stronger community together. So whether you've married into the farm, you're stepping into a legacy, or you've built your dreams from the ground up, you belong here. How to start engaging? Join the group. In the show notes, there will be a link to the Facebook page, or jump on Facebook and look up the Ultimate Farm Wives and send an invitation. No, absolutely. Georgie, have loved sitting down and chatting with you about the last 12 months, because you've now been on farm 2 years. What a great learning curve to be on. What a fantastic journey. Thank you so much for sharing your pearls of wisdom, what you've learned, how you've engaged with your community. Have absolutely loved catching up and look forward to catching up again in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks for the support.